So we're live this morning and welcome to the Wise Why. I'm Kirsty Vanderbalk. And this morning I'm joined by Paul Routledge, who I worked with when I was at D-Link. And I invited Paul onto the show because I arrived at D-Link with, well, I was green. I was more than green. I had worked as an actor. I'd gone into field marketing and I walked through these doors and suddenly I was confronted with spreadsheets and data and selling not face to face. It was all very strange and all very new. And I was drowning. And Paul reached out his hand and grabbed and helped. So that's enough about me, because as we know, the Wise Why is not about Kirsty Vanderbalk. It is about my guest. So Paul, please introduce yourself to everybody.
Hello, everybody. I'm Paul Routledge. Kirsty, I think you do yourself a disservice. You know, you came to D-Link with a lot, lots of skills and experience. Not absolutely in what we were doing at D-Link, but you certainly you had the skills and experience. You had the confidence to take it on. So working on it, we talked about sales floors and that type of thing. You had the confidence to get on those sales floors and approach all those sales guys. And that's the main thing, to get on and actually do it. There can be a scary place. I think over the years, big IT sales floors have become a bit less scary, but you had the confidence to go do it. So and thank you for letting me come on and just have a chat and I suppose share a conversation. It's nice. Thank you.
No problem. So tell me, because obviously I know you really well. I know that you love doing some kind of running that I certainly couldn't do. So can you expand a bit more on that so people can understand? Because I can remember being in Barcelona and coming down for breakfast, and I'm pretty certain you and Luigi had already gone for a run. Is that right?
Probably I'm on one of the meetings. Me, who am I? Most important, husband and a dad. Every day I understand they're the things I've absolutely got to get right. So I'm, husband and a dad. At heart, I'm an engineer. Started out as an engineer. I like to understand how things work. So I'm an engineer. I think that probably makes me very kind of, methodical. I'm having done a bit of work on myself. I realise that I'm AD. So I like detail. So I'm very AD. I'm a business developer. So for over 20 years, I've been in business development, various types of business. And I just find that really interesting, building or developing a business, building a business. Back to I suppose to what I do when I'm not working. I do like fell running. I like being outside. I like being in the hills. I will do road run, but I need a hit of nature. So almost every day I need a hit of nature. So I'm lucky in that, where I live, I can get out and I get some nature. You mentioned Gigi and, being in Barcelona. God, I've had some runs in Barcelona that were absolute killers. But I've seen some great places. So what running's done for me is I've seen some great places around Europe. I use it as a tool to I use it to filter the day, so if you've had a busy day, I use it to filter out, okay, what should I have done today? What didn't I do today? What could I have done better today? And from a mental health point of view, it just helps me. It lifts me being out and running. I don't compete. I don't compete anymore. I don't really have the time to train to compete. But what I do like, so there's a local running group in the village, and a lot of the people in that group are kind of at the start of their running journey. So that they're all excited about 10Ks and half marathons, and I like kind of helping them out, giving them tips, and I like to see how those people are developing. Well, I was out on Wednesday night actually. I was talking to a chap, and he said, my PBs are done now, and I'm not going to be, I'm not going after PBs, personal best times. So I said, no, me neither. But it's it's good. It's good helping helping the other guys. So that's it. That's the odd thing that I do. Fell running is great. I it must have been 15 years ago. I think I really found my tribe. Sort of old men in a field. Typically it'd be cold and wet, and everybody else would be, kind of staying inside, and we'd be there in shorts and vests and aiming to run up a very large hill. So yeah, that's from outside of work. I really like it. I really enjoy it. I will say, I started paddleboarding last year as well, and that is a brilliant thing as well. Just wherever I am, even when I travel for work, I'll throw the paddleboard in the back of the car. So if I've got an overnight, I can paddleboard wherever I am.
And I think that's the thing that I always remember about you. And, I walked the Three Peaks. Well, I didn't walk the Three Peaks. I walked one of them. Simon Broadbent walked two. One day after we'd been on the sales floor in Yorkshire, and it was challenging. And of course, I'm asthmatic, so I came down the first one, and there was no way my chest was going to do the second. But there was Simon running up the next one, and we did that because you inspired us to go and do it, and you gave us all the information. And that's what I was talking about at the beginning when I came into D-Link. You inspired me, you gave me the knowledge. And you talked earlier about being AD, but what you did was you share, and you're doing exactly the same thing with your running group. This is why you're an inspiration. This is why you were so important. So how did you go? Because my husband's an engineer, and he's done the same thing. He's tracked into a very senior position within a sales organization, or had to speak this morning, organization. What drove you? What was the why behind doing that? Because you really are a mentor. I've seen you really shape people.
Well, thank you. I don't look at it like that, really. I just I moved from being from an engineering company into an IT business, and very quickly started to get involved with the customers, kind of front of house, and I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that. And I had a couple of years developing a small business based up here in Yorkshire. And there's a term that I use now, and we used to use it then. And our job was to keep the lights on. We had to get out there and sell enough to keep the lights on. So, and as a team, and it really, well, I suppose it focused us all, because that was the thing. We sell enough, the business keeps thriving, we keep the lights on. And I realized then, I couldn't do it on my own. I needed a team of people. And what I really like to see is bringing different individuals together with different skills and experience. And sometimes it might be things that you don't expect, but bringing people together and then using those skills and experience, and again giving people the confidence to just to go out and do it. And it's that confidence is that first step is the big thing. To take that first step. What's the worst that's going to happen? Get out and take that first step. So that's why I do it, and I get I do get loads of enjoyment out of seeing where people have gone, and where people have gone to. And we said when we spoke earlier, what you're doing, brilliant. You're bringing all your skills and experience, and you're doing something that really fits for you and for your life, and that's great. And so to help people do that, I think is great, and it helps me as well, doesn't it? It sort of helps me along the way. But I think I like people. I like helping people.
I honestly, I can remember you saying to me, and in fact, not just to me, in a training session, actually, when we were presenting about storage, I can remember you saying, you've got to keep the lights on. I can, to this day, remember, again, being on that sales floor during the lunchtime break, as we were all trying to keep stuffed sandwiches in and coach at the same time. And that's the reality of the sales floor, is you've got a lunch and learn. And we were stuffing sandwiches, and you were saying, the whole point is we've got to keep the lights on. So thank you for sharing that, because I still keep that and I still use that wisdom. So you talked about loving your customers. You've talked about understanding and knowing that you needed an extra body. And I think that's really important, because when you start out, particularly for my situation as a small business owner, I'm aware that I can only do as much as one person can. And when you expand and grow the team, you've got to really trust, but you've also got to motivate. And the way that you empower people and build that confidence is exceptional. And from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you, because when I first walked onto the sales floor. I was faking it till I make it because I was using all the acting training that I had. Then somewhere along the line, the tech dropped in, and I still use the tech that you gave me, all of that information I still use. Yesterday I had a client who I was talking about not just being hardwired, I was explaining about how the router works and 2.4 gigahertz versus 5 gigahertz and why they need to power line. And I was sitting there thinking, how do I know all of this? Oh yeah, D-Link. Oh, and Paul, and particularly about storage, because I knew about direct attached. I certainly didn't know about SAN, which I'm not going to go on to right now, but I do remember you coaching me really well, and you and Neil and Luigi really helped. So I left, and then you got this position, which part of me is regret. Will always regret I didn't get to work with you as my boss, because you were the one person that I thought which should be country manager. So what was it like stepping up from the European team, starting as an engineer, going into the European team, and then stepping up as country manager? I mean, wow. Seriously, wow. What was that like?
There were lots of evenings after work that I had to go out and have a run. lots and lots. It was great. There was a great team of people doing lots of doing lots of the right type, kind of things. We had to improve in a lot of areas. So it was about working out, okay, what do we need to do to get to where we need to be, and how do I develop this team to do that? And you've mentioned Luigi a few times. Gigi. I've got to say, Gigi and Stefano were super great mentors for me. Without those guys, I wouldn't have done that job, and I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. So I have to say, thank you, Gigi and Stefano. And you should get Gigi on. Have one of these with you. That would be fantastic.
I'm going to. I wanted to let him see. I've tagged him in this post, so I am hoping that he will be brave enough and come on in series 2 in September.
I'll have a word with him as well, and also Neil. Neil, I've known Neil for a very, very long time. Anyway, so that D-Link business, it really was about getting people working together. I think again, lots of really good people doing some really good stuff, but not always really collaborating very, very well. So it was about increasing that collaboration and getting the team working as a team. And from an individual point of view, what I tend to do, what I look at is that competence and confidence. So as an individual, got the competence and the confidence to do that job. And if not, how do we work on that? So how do we build that confidence? How do we build that competence, training, whatever? And then empower those individuals to go out and do it. There's a guy, I employed a guy in this role. He joined me in January, and he had his first customer visit was this week. And so I was having a chat with him the day before, and he was saying he was a bit nervous. Why are you nervous? You know what you're doing. You know exactly what you're doing. You've got the tools to do it. You're going to smash it. What's making you nervous? And it's a new company. I've not done it before. But you know what you're doing. You know the products. You know the services. You know what we do. You've got the experience to go out and speak to people. You've got lots and lots of experience. Get out and enjoy it. And at the end of the day, what's the worst that's going to happen? If you say something wrong, you know what to do, to kind of to put that right. So get out, enjoy it. It's that first step again. Go do it, enjoy it. And he rang me after after his visit, and he was buzzing. He was absolutely buzzing, and I said great. And keep that buzz and remember that buzz, because that's what'll feed you. So get out, keep doing it. So there you go. That's kind of what that was the D-Link thing, and again, I'm building it down. So I started in this role in October. Me in this room, first person in the UK for a Swedish business. Thinking, boy, what am I going to do now? And again, I did lots of running in the evenings that week, so I was getting tons of information in, and I had to file it and work out what I was going to do with it. But it's great. It's exciting.
So was it
Sales should be exciting. Actually, it's a great job to do. It should be exciting.
so? Obviously, there was the dealing thing, and that's how I met you. But you've now got this new exciting role, and as you said, you were the first person. Which I'm just going to say, congratulations for being brave, because a lot of people that wouldn't do that, they would look and they go, "No, I'm not going to jump into that. I'm not going to jump into the loan. I'm not going to get on the surfboard." Some people call them quantum leaps. I call them Alice moments, when you go, "Do you know what? I'm going to go out my comfort zone." So, what drove you? What was the why? Was it a new challenge, or you were looking for, I don't know, what drove you to go and take on a new challenge?
So I'm dealing was going well. Great team. We absolutely smashed last year. The team, carried on and absolutely smashed the 2021 numbers. They did a fantastic job. I could have stayed. I could have stayed and done that. But I got talking to these guys. It's in the kind of sustainability sector. So that's something that I'm interested in. 2 kids, want to make sure the planet's here for the future. So that was interesting. It was my chance to build my business. Number one. I'm number one in the UK. So I'm working on building the business, but also on creating the business. Boring things like workplace pensions and limited liability insurance, all of that boring stuff. So there's all that, but there's also that opportunity to go from zero to wherever this business is going to go. And I can, I've just got off a call actually with the team in Sweden, and looking at the future plans, this business is going to be huge. And just that chance to build my business and start from scratch with a team as well. So number one, Dave's joined. I'm interviewing for other people, for technical people. So bringing that team together. And there are the times where you kind of think, my God, what am I doing? And even before I left dealing, there's those days where you think, what am I doing? Should I really go and do this? But yeah, it's the right thing to do. But again, it's what you've done. You've taken that step as well. Your own business. You've done it so that you must understand. That kind of that excitement to do it.
Yeah, yeah, I do. I get it.
And I think it's good to scare yourself, isn't it? It's good to, every now and again. It's good to get out of your comfort zone, and I suppose expand. Expand your ability and expand your outlook as well. So yeah, no, it's started in October. Business is going well, established distribution, building the channel now, building out the team. The guys in Sweden seem happy with what's going on. So yeah, I love it. It's good. I think I need that drive. I need that push. Do you know what? So I'm going to go back to another analogy. Running with Gigi. Gigi always used to complain because we'd get to a hill and I'd attack the hill. I would always attack. Then I'd say to Gigi, "Come on, we've got to attack the hill." Maybe it's an old fell running thing, but that's kind of my life. That's what I like to have a go. So if there's a challenge there, then I'm going to have a go at that challenge, and I'm going to do the best I can to at that challenge. So I suppose the new position. And again, Gigi, if you're listening, it's about attacking the hill. That's what I'm doing again, and just keep doing it in different aspects of your life. Just never. I suppose never be disappointed. Never kind of look back and think, I wish I'd done that. No, give it a go. And again, a Yorkshire thing and something that's gone through my relationship and with the kids and everything. It'll be right, So it's a Yorkshire saying. You've probably heard it yourself. It'll be right. So get moving, take that first step, and it'll be right.
Yeah, I've heard that from you, and I've also heard where there's muck, there's brass.
Yeah,
Don't,
and you gotta absolutely, and do you know what? Just don't be too proud. Just get on and do what you need to do. So I've been interviewing, for this role. I spend a lot of my time on sales floors, but also on like trade counters. So 7 o'clock in the morning, meeting all the electricians that are coming for their, that stock for the day. And I love it. And then, and then the other times, I don't know, I'm in a boardroom with Barclays working out what we're going to do finance-wise, all that type of thing. But I like it all. I love it all. And never ever be too proud to get your fleece on and talk to the guys. And because at the end of the day, those guys on that trade counter, they're gonna drive this business for me.
Yeah. And that is, I think that's so important. Pride is the one thing I think that limits us. And from what I've just heard, and I think we're on a similar journey here, is it's about learning. And one of the things I'm always talking about is never, ever stop learning. And I love the fact that you talked about grabbing your nerves and turning it into excitement, because one of the things I coach on actually is breathing in the fear and start focusing on the excitement and the possibilities rather than the limiting. And it's that positive mindset that you definitely have. And I know that Jenny has it as well, because you've talked about like how much Jenny inspires you with her motivation. And it's just lovely. It really is lovely. And you've talked about some of the way you've filtered and the way you deal with things and the way you get over those aha moments. So we've talked about Luigi, we've talked about Neil, we've talked about other people, but who else has helped? Obviously, in fact, Jenny. Tell us about Jenny, because she really is a force to be reckoned with. She really is someone who has helped you along your way, isn't she?
Yeah, she's amazing person, really. She helps. She's a mentor for for kids that have got kind of challenging home lives, and so she's that's what she works at. And some of the stories she tells me are just heartbreaking. But anyway, so that's how Jenny works. Do you know what? So Jenny completed an NLP course through lockdown, actually, and so she's helped me on a journey that started probably about 6 years ago at D-Link. So I met a lady called Lee Ashton. Lee, actually, a bit of a plug. Lee's just released a book that's Grow Your Team, Grow Your Sales, and it is, it's a real good book. And so that limiting belief thing, so one of the sessions that we did with Lee was around limiting beliefs and kind of getting your head around those limiting beliefs and getting past your limiting beliefs. So that was kind of the seed of it. And then with the work that Jenny's been doing, that's I suppose put the meat on the bones of that, that point that started back with Lee. But also, again, I have to say, some great mentors, with Gigi, Stefano, with Neil. So they've all helped right at the beginning of all of that. So there's one person that that influenced me so much. And it's my mum. I'm youngest of 6 kids. We didn't have a lot when I was young, and I to this day now I remember I was struggling with some maths homework, I think it was, and getting stressed because I couldn't work it out. And I remember my mum said, "Well, look, just do your best. All you can really give is you can do your best." And everything that I do, I remember that, and I try and do my best. And it could be it's work, it's running up a hill, it's baking a cake. I always remember, just do your best. I had the opportunity to go in and speak in our local school to a lot of year 6s about life and work and that type of thing. And it was when I was at D-Link, and they were like, "Wow, you provide the internet, you're brilliant." Well, I'm not brilliant, but we've got the company's got some great products and services. And I said to those guys, just always, whatever you do, just do your best. And so that was, that's the start of it. And then I've been lucky. I've had some great opportunities, and I've worked with some brilliant people, and some great people around. And then I was lucky enough to meet Jenny, who decided that yes, she would have a life with me. So how lucky am I?
Very. In fact, do I not remember you were we not organising? No, I got married after you, but I remember you organising your wedding. I've just remembered that.
Mm.
I've just remembered sitting there listening to you talking about how much what you were planning to do and how the smile on your face and the radiance that came from you was just absolutely beautiful. And there are so many memories I have, including peeling apples in Barcelona with you, that I just, yeah, I had a blast working at D-Link, and I had a blast working with you. And I'm so excited to see your next stage of your journey with the new company, which for the life of me, I cannot remember. I know that it's sustainable, but my brain is gone. So I'm really excited to see where that goes. And we've had some really lovely comments. I'm just going to have to do my glasses moment because I'm obviously getting old, everybody. And Jay's joined us, which is really lovely. Going back to the front, Haley Joseph. Haley's asked a question: which Jay owns the coffee cup, Paul? So I don't know the answer to that, but I'll leave you with that one. And other people are just saying good morning. But Annette has said it's wonderful to hear that Paul is so great at getting teams to collaborate, motivate, and inspire to work together for the benefit of the team and the company uplifting. Now, Annette's really specialist because she's a counsellor to help people overcome workplace bullying. So that's a really lovely compliment coming from Annette. And so, yeah, thank you. I always at this point, because I'm aware that you've been in the hot seat and it's not necessarily the most comfortable place to be. Is there anything that you want to throw at me as we come to a close? Can be anything.
What was your why? Why did you step out?
So my why is really simple. Really, really simple. One, I wanted to be a present mummy. That was really key. I wanted to be at the school gate. I wanted to give our daughter the best chance that she could have a stable, formative primary school years. And so that was very much the driving force. And I was looking for a role that would accommodate it. Then lockdown happened. So I'd launched the business with a completely different focus. Lockdown happened, and then people were needing help. They really were needing to get confident going on camera. They were going for job interviews. They were having to adapt to life, doing a presentation on screen. And a lot of people were finding this overwhelming. And they were coming to me going, look, you used to be an actress. Do you think you could do something about this? And you worked in business. And I've seen you present, and actually you're not bad at it. So do you think you could help? So I started helping people on, actually for free. I'll be absolutely honest. I helped my friends and my friends and my friends. And then my husband went, you've got a business there. And I went, really? He went, yeah. Don't do what you were going to do. Do this. So this public speaking on camera got launched and officially got launched in April, probably last year. It'd been ticking over, doing some little bits from the August the year before. But in April last year, I honed it all down, I niched down. And yes, public speaking on camera happened. And what the main aim, and this is, I was talking to someone this week, my main aim is to help the everyday person. It isn't about the TEDx speaker. There are thousands of people out there that you can go to and pay a fortune and learn how to do the pump, punch as a TEDx speaker. Alternatively, you can come to me and I'll help you present your QBR. I'll help you go and do that, be the key speaker at a corporate event where your company has told you you've got to go and do it. Or suddenly, as a client this morning has come to me and gone, help, I've got to do an interview on YouTube. How do I do it? So my focus was to help the everyday person who suddenly had to go and present. So that was my why, because I didn't want to help the TEDx's. There's loads of those and you can pay a fortune. I just wanted to help the people like you that suddenly had to do something who didn't have the confidence. And that is my my bread and butter. And that keeps my lights on. Too easy.
Yeah, but it keeps your lights on and it keeps you smiling, doesn't it?
It really does. And
so that's what's better than that? You know, it's
nothing, absolutely nothing. And of course, because I've got the background in tech, it really helps, because I can then go into why they want a particular camera, or why they want to use this software, or why your lights need to be in this setting. And then of course I've also got, I might have told you to go hardwired. And then there's the fact that I've got the acting and I've been on and behind the camera. So for me, it's a win-win and I love it. I'll be honest, I love it.
Good. And it looks like you're thriving at it as well. It's great. It's great. You're happy with it and you're doing well. It's good.
It gives me my soul food. It does. It gives me my soul food, and I think that was. I read The Soul Bird. I think it was Soul Bird years and years and years ago, and it was a
Mm.
book that just stayed and didn't really
Mm.
do anything. And then one day I went, I've got my soul food. Yay!
Mm.
Simple as. So, Paul,
Good. Well
thank
done.
you.
Well done.
Thank you
Not
so
good.
much for joining us. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
There are some lovely comments. Please feel free to answer them on
I will do.
LinkedIn.
Will
And
do.
thank you.
All right.
Thank-
Thank you. Have a good
Bye.
day. And have a great
And,
weekend.
and
See ya.
you. Bye.
Bye bye.